Finally got Adrian's radio flyer wagon together. Just a few issues with it though. One, if you listen, if you hear a rubbing noise, that wheel rubs on that bar, which I think is crazy. This one doesn't. It barely misses it. And I'm like, am I really going to need to bend that so it doesn't rub, or do I need to just let it wear down? The wife's like, well, just send it back. I'm like, well, if we send it back, I mean, it's almost already, it's going to be like 2 more weeks before we probably get anything else back in. And I'm like, I mean, I could just bend it out. But there's a few little issues that was with it. There's supposed to be like this washer we put down here. If you see here, there's a washer here. Well, this one, there's not one. There we have it. The problem is that when you put that washer on, the tab doesn't stick out far enough for this thing to go on. So I had to leave the washer off. And yes, always that's going to grind a little bit onto that plastic piece, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. But he loved it. We took him out today. There's actually a new playground that they built in our neighborhood. Took over to that, and he wanted to. At first, he wanted to stay in the wagon more than the playground, but then he started playing on the playground, which was great. So overall, pretty good. Pretty successful. He wants to push it, but the thing is, it is a little bit bigger. It does have these bigger wheels, so it takes a little bit harder to start pulling. And he wants to push it in the house. And we're like, it's too big to really push in the house. So we're I'm not sure if we're going to leave it in the garage or how we want to do that without having him to ram it into everything. But yeah, last night was the let me actually take a seat here. Last night we went out to the parks, to the Halloween stuff. That was really fun. Come here, Thor. Come on. Come on, jump. My dog wants to get in my lap. Come on, jump. But the weather was really good. And the problem was, though, was like all the video footage I took. I mean, I have a little over an hour of footage, and pretty much everything I could use I put in the vlog yesterday. And because it was so dark that just none of it would, I couldn't really use it. And my dogs start to fight right now. They don't really fight, they're playing. But after all that, I was like, come on now. Really? I'm not going to be able to use any of this? And then, like, a lot of stuff I could use was the flashing strobe light stuff. And I was like, oh. But it was really fun. There was, we went to actually 2 different places. And it's all done under the same company. And so the first one had 3 different pass trails, whatever you want to call it. The first one we did, it wasn't that great. It was a little too dark. I mean, literally, you couldn't see at all. I mean, it was just like you walked with your hand out in front of you like this, just to feel the wall to get around. And you had the actors in there screaming and started chainsaws and stuff like that. So it was, the first one wasn't that good. The second one was good. It's basically called the Trail of Terror. You just had this big long trail path that you walked. That was really good. But like it was a group of 5, it was me, 4 other people. Well, they had these 2 girls behind us, and they're like, "Can we get in front? We like to run." And we're like, "All right, sure." Well, they give you a flashlight to use to shine at the ground as you're walking around, and well, those 2 girls just took off because they literally were like getting scared to death, screaming and everything. It's like, okay, so you're supposed to use the flashlight so you don't trip and fall, because there are tree roots everywhere. So, well, we were tripping and everything, which wasn't too bad. I mean, we didn't fall down or anything. But I do wish they wouldn't have let the girls just. I just wish they would. I wish that they would give me more than just two. I wish it. I prefer, because actually after we was done, they actually asked us questions. Hey, Chloe, come here. I wish that they asked us questions, and I told them, I said, I think it'd have been better if it would have been a lantern instead of a flashlight. Chloe, come here. Chloe, come. Because if you have a lantern, it's just this circle of light around you. You don't have a flashlight that projects out for you, so you can't shine it into the woods or anything. It makes it harder to see the people. So this lantern is kind of like a circle. You have this circle of light around you that only goes so far. That I think would have been better. You could still see the ground. You could, like, if you held it up higher, you could see more. But if you hold it at eye level, it makes your vision. It affects your vision. So I think so. Like, basically, you kind of have to hold it a certain way so that you can still have good night vision, but also be able to see around you. So that I think would have been better. We did make that suggestion to them. Then the third one was called the doors, which is like they have these shipping containers that they had made little things inside of. That was pretty good, except we went with this group. It's like a mom and two daughters, and the one daughter, holy cow, kept grabbing me like what it was. No, not she said like she kept running up and like running into me. When she'd run into me, like she'd wrap her arms around me and scream, and then go around me, and then bump into one of our other friends that was with us, and she'd do the same thing to him, and then go and he was in the front of the line. Well, so when she went out in front of him, she realized, oh crap, I'm in front. So she'd run back, run into him, and then run into me, and then get back to her mom, and it was just she constantly did that, back and forth, back and forth. It was kind of funny though, because at one point she's like, okay, I'm done with this, I don't want to do this anymore. But the thing is, you have to go through it, because there's really not a way to like just go, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, I want out. There's no way to just walk out, because it's a path you have to follow. So that was pretty. I mean, the girl screaming and everything didn't make it annoying. It made it pretty. I think it added a lot to the atmosphere, because it's like somebody that the screams add to it. And it's the one thing I didn't like is that they use real chainsaws. So they just take the blade. They just take the chain off of it. And the thing is, though, after it's been there a while and they've started them up so many times, the exhaust fumes were at some places were pretty intense, and you're just kind of like, oh. But then we went to the other one, another farm with this paintball thing where people dressed up as in these zombie costumes. 1 second. All right. I had to change arms. My arm was getting tired holding the camera. But so we went to the second one, and that one, the first one, they this paintball thing, it wasn't that great, because basically you sit on this trailer that has paintball guns set up, and you shoot at people dressed up as zombies. Well, midway through, they stop and ask if everybody wants a refill. Well, it costs more money to get a refill. I just didn't shoot all. I knew this because we did it before. I basically didn't shoot all the paintballs out, and I had enough pretty much for the entire trip. Most people did, because that was with us, because we had done it before. Then there was the haunted hayride, which is pretty good, but we got on front. Literally the front seat, we thought that'd be the best place. No, it was the worst place, because everything happened to the people in the middle. If you're doing a haunted hayride, sit in the middle on the very edge. That's the best seat, because everybody runs to the middle of the trailer that has that you're sitting on. They don't run to the first, like, literally there were 2 people that actually did something to the people in the front. One at there's the first thing that happened. We were driving by, and a guy like just runs forward, and it looks like he has like a meat cleaver, and like swung it at my neck, but like pulls it back at the last second. That was pretty good. And another one, they had this thing going on this side, Well, this girl walks up beside me and just screams, and like she has this baby doll, and like she like pushed it in my face. Like, would you like to kiss my baby? Kiss my baby? And then she's dressed up kind of like a zombie Harley Quinn. There's a lot of people dressed up as clowns on it, but everything that happened, like there's this big giant snake come down. Well, since this guy is driving a tractor and he's up kind of high, well they can't. They have to start it after he gets past, which means to see it, for us to see it, we had to look straight up. Go, oh wow, we see the tongue. That's like because like it came down and like we were going under it as it's coming down. The people in the middle though, it came down. They got a really good view of it. Um, After that, we did uh, this corn maze. That was I actually told you it was a full contact um, adventure. Basically, you go into it and you have to work your way through the maze to get out. I thought it was a little short, but it was pretty good because literally they came out and they would grab you. And they said if you don't want to be grabbed, all you have to do is say I'm a big sissy. That was their safe word. And it was true. Look, nobody in the group that I was with said it, but literally when we walked in, um, first thing that happened, this girl that was dressed up as a clown ran up behind me and grabbed me and like started to pull me into the corn, and the other friend she just ran, and she looked, she goes, "Ooh, we got a runner," and she ran and she let go of me and ran toward her and grabbed her. She goes, "No, no, 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 my pretty," and like basically because she ran, she saved me from getting dragged into the court. um, so yeah, then she grabbed her and they talked to you and everything, and it was full contact. They wrapped their hands around you, they touched you, did all this stuff. I mean, they didn't like grab anything inappropriate or anything like that, but they did like well, my other friends, they this he was walking by and somebody just grabbed his arm and jerked him into the corn and grabbed him, and like they took his hat from him and everything. So it's pretty good because it wasn't your typical just somebody walking up to just trying to scare you. It was actually like something like a monster grabbing you. It's kind of funny though because like um, they would come talking, like they try to talk to you and kind of scare you and everything. And one guy had this long beard, long hair, and he just started talking, really get in my face and everything. And I looked at him, I was like, I'm not scared of Rob Zombie. And he kind of stopped for a second, and I could tell he was trying his best not to laugh. And he just turned around and went to the next person behind me. But he did. He looked like Rob Zombie is what it looked like he was trying the get up he had. Like he had the face paint the way Rob Zombie does on stage and everything. It was really good, but that's the first thing I thought of when I saw him. But after that, it was over. I mean, we went to there was 6 different trails we did. It took us a few hours to do. I mean, we were there. We started probably around 8, 9 o'clock, and then it was done around midnight. And then I come home, and after running through all that stuff, I think I was really tired. So that, as you could tell, and get my intro to everything, I was pretty sleepy. Oh, but the picture that for my thumbnail, that was great because there's a guy there that's walking around everybody and like kind of talking to them like in the line, because even when you're in line, they have people walking around doing things and scaring people. It's just not like, oh, you're in line, you're not seeing anything. Um, he had this big giant hook, like basically instead of a hand, looked like his hand was cut off and a hook was jabbed into it, and he was walking around. People were taking pictures with him and everything. And I was like, "Can I get a picture with you?" And he was like, "He's like, sure." And he started like put the hook around me. He's like, "No, no, can you make it look like you're photobombing me?" And he was like, and I could see he was like, "Yeah," like he was really in, because I just didn't want the typical like him standing beside me picture. That's the reason why I had the camera looked up like that, and I had it look like he was behind me and I didn't know it. So very, very fun. If you like stuff like that, I highly recommend them. I know there's some that are better. They're probably better, but the ones that we went through, they were pretty good overall. I mean, the price. I mean, because they had speed passes, and where we got tickets to both of them at one place, we got the speed pass also, and I highly recommend that because we had never gotten them before, and we would sit in line for like an hour to 2 hours for some of these things, and that because I was with my friends, it wasn't so bad. But if it's just if you were if it was like last year, it was really cold, and I had to leave. I only got to do one of the three, and I was like, oh, that sucks. But overall, highly recommend it. Love it for Halloween. Very good because you get to basically, it's a great scare, and I love things like that. Later in the day, we were back outside. Got my little buddy here with me. Finally cooked dinner. Basically, I'm waiting for WWE's Hell in a Cell to start. Tonight, they got the triple main event, which is kind of a... I always thought, well, never understood that. Main event, last match of the night. How can you have 3 matches at the same time? You can't. I don't know what they're trying to do. It's like, oh, well, look, it's a main event. And my arm on this thing just fell way down. So let me understand. They're trying to have they want to hold everything be of equal importance, but it's not. The last match of the night is the most important. But I'm not really sure which one that's going to be. I haven't really kept up with it this past week, so I don't know. Is it going to be the Sasha and Charlotte, or is it going to be Rusev and Roman, or is it Kevin Owens and Rollins? My predictions: Roman Reigns will win. Kevin Owens is going to win, and the girls. I'd like it if Sasha kept the belt, but I don't know. They might give it back to Charlotte to kind of extend the feud a little bit.